Okay. All right. Take care.
Thank
And
you.
get well soon.
That's why I didn't join the Open Saturday.
Okay.
I just prepared for the slides, and
I
because
see.
the whole weekend I was outstation.
Okay. All right.
I catch up from the Facebook also.
No worries. Yeah. So today, your turn to shine. Okay. So it's 8:30. Maybe Terence, you want to kick off?
Bante, CO2, good evening, brothers and sisters in the Dhamma. Welcome to the weekly guided meditation by Phra Goh. Today is 7 December 2021. We are very grateful to have with us Bante Adhibalo, also known as Phra Goh. Bante was born on July 14, 1985 and was ordained into the Thai Dhamma sect at Santi Forest Monastery, Johor, 2008. Bante is currently the religious advisor to Buddhist Youth Network Singapore and has been conducting MSBS weekly Tuesday guided meditation since last year. This week we are continuing on the Sutta on Ratana Sutta. Bante will be leading the homage to the Buddha and taking a 5% for Buddhists. Now let's compose our minds, put our palms together and welcome Bante. Over to you, Bante.
Okay. Thank you, Terence, for the intro. So we shall do the opening chant and the homage. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Three refuges. Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Sanghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Dutiyampi Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Dutiyampi Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Dutiyampi Sanghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Tatiyampi Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Tatiyampi Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Tatiyampi Sanghaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. And the 5 precepts. Panatipata Veramani Sikkhapadam Samadhiyami. Adinadana Veramani Sikkhapadam Samadhiyami. Kamesu Miccācara Veramani Sikkhapadam Samadhiyami. Musavada Veramani Sikkhapadam Samadhiyami. Suramiraya Majjapamadatthana Veramani Sikkhapadam Samadhiyami. Sadhu, sadhu. Okay, so good evening, everyone. Tonight we are continuing this topic called the Ratana Sutta, suggested by Sister Rachel. Right, tonight is the second lesson. Last week we touched on the introduction, talked a bit on the 1 or 2 paragraphs, or to the 3rd paragraph. So today we are continuing this Ratana Sutta. So it's still very much talking about the Buddha, but this time they are talking about the Dhamma quality. So what kind of Dhamma are they talking about? So this is what sort of comprises the essence of the Buddha. Like previously, in the previous paragraph, we talked about the the Buddha as a superb jewel. And what makes a Buddha? And so we are going to read these two paragraphs. So I'm briefly reading them. Yeah, there is nothing equal to the Dhamma of the superb extinction of defilements, which is dispassion and deathlessness, Nibbana. Right. So last week we talked about this benefit. Somebody asked a question. I think Supatisa talked about the not getting loving kindness, benefit of loving kindness, not getting poisoned, not affected by weapons, fire, and this poison. Right. So, like mentioned, it's the interpretation of the terms. So we talk about deathlessness. Does it mean a person practice and achieve this Nibbana, they won't get to have their death certificate printed? They will live forever. Right? So it's interpretation. So this deathless is talking about no passing away of a state of mind. This Nibbana, no arising, no passing, no birth, no death. So in this state of sort of permanence, it's a unique state of emotion. Yeah? And this is which the concentrated Sakyan sage and the Buddha has realized. Yeah, so the Buddha has realized this extinction of defilements, which leads to this Nibbana. So that's why we call a person a Buddha, because they realize this Dhamma. Yeah? Verily, in the Dhamma is this superb jewel. By virtue of this truth, may there be well-being. So any person who sort of dresses like physically like a Buddha, look like a Buddha statue, Buddha image, that is not the Buddha. Yeah, so a Buddha is a person who experiences this special concentration, and this Dhamma. And this is so treasured in the, according to the Buddha, so treasured until he laid down this Vinaya rule, especially for monastics. So if a monastic hasn't achieved this, we call it superhuman states. So Nibbana is considered one of the superhuman states. And if they did not achieve these superhuman states and they were to tell a lie and say, oh, I have achieved, no? Any Sangha member, they didn't achieve this state, but they declare that they achieve. And if they do it out of a deliberate lie, then it is disrobing offense, very serious. So this is how much the Buddha treasured this, or how much emphasis, how much importance he placed this. Because this is the Dhamma, the end goal of the Dhamma. So there are lots of frauds, lot of con, lots of lies regarding this. That means the person who tell the lies that they reach this means they do not know the actual way, actual method of reaching this end goal. So if everybody were to declare, oh, they are an arahant, and they're this holy person, the living Buddha, whatever it is, and they start giving teachings, then that's it, Buddhism gone. Everybody follow. Hey, this person says enlightened, he experienced Nibbana, and that's it. Everybody follow this so and so teacher or teachers, then gone case. So they do not know the technique how to enter such state of mind. So there goes the religion. So the Buddha gives a very serious offense, expulsion offense for those who tell lies. But sometimes there might be people who, how do you call it, overestimate themselves. They're overconfident. So even though they actually did not experience any superhuman state, but based on their personal view, personal experience, they think they experience it. So that one is still not an offense. It's considered minor offense. So very messy world. So this is the truth which the Buddha realized. Okay, then the 5th paragraph. That purity which the Supreme Buddha extolled is called concentration with immediate effect. Pardon the font, I think there's some typo error. Nothing equal to that concentration is found. Okay, so concentration with immediate effect means once a person experiences cessation, then they will have one of the 4 fruitions. Either it is stream enterer, that is one of the effect, or they experience Satipatthana, or they experience this Sakadagami, which is one's returner, which is the 2nd fruition, or the 3rd fruition, which is this Anagami, non-returner, or the 4th fruition, the final fruition, which is an arahant. So they experience this effect. So once a person has this concentration, this inner contentment, they will experience this fruition, this state of mind. So once a person who experiences any of this state, they will naturally not cling onto the various fetters, fetters, the chains that bind them to this samsara. So very important that, interestingly, last week, a few days ago actually, over the weekend, I gave a talk to this Metta Lodge. This new and full moon, the Uposatha Zoom sessions. So they invited me to talk. The topic is how to reach stream entry. How to reach stream entry. So in one of the slides I mentioned, there's this particular story of this Venerable Maha and a conversation with Venerable Sariputta. So Venerable this monk had a conversation with Sariputta, asked Venerable Sariputta a question. So Venerable Sariputta is the chief disciple, foremost in wisdom. So you can take his word as though like the Buddha's word. So very wise. And he asked a question to Venerable Sariputta: how can a virtuous practitioner practice and reach this stream entry? So Venerable Satipatthana said, okay, reflect on the 5 aggregates as impermanent, whole list of reflections, impermanent suffering, non-self, as illusion, a disease, a cancer, emptiness. You just pick one and keep on reflecting, and eventually you can reach this stream entry. And he went on to ask, so from stream entry, how to proceed on to the next level, become one's returner. So Venerable Sariputta replied, do the same thing. 5 aggregates and a whole list of reflections. And the monk asked Venerable Sariputta again, so how about one's returner? How you practice and become a non-returner? Venerable Sariputta said, do the same thing. And how about non-returner, become an arahant? What to do? Also do the same thing. Right? So once a person experiences this cessation, you need to do the same steps all the way to this arahanthood, which is this concentration, this special kind of concentration. So in short, it means it can be a very weak form of concentration, which brings a limited amount of contentment to the full effect, the end goal, which is arahanthood, the unique kind of concentration. Okay, so like I always give the example of the stream, right? When the Buddha's life story, he put the bowl on the stream before he got enlightened, and he made a wish. He was able to reach enlightenment, made the bowl flow upstream, right? So the stream is symbolic. It's a symbol for desire, analogy for desire. So the stream flows one direction, the water flows one direction, and the bowl flows the opposite direction. So when we are trying to sort of extinct this passion, how to overcome this passion, we're actually going against the stream. With all these precepts that prevent us from doing what we like, doing what we want, to practicing meditation, focusing the mind, and not being distracted. So all this is training, to go against the stream, and eventually practicing contemplating impermanence that really go against that direction. Right? So once you're in that stream, right, we call this a stream enterer. So of course you need to attain this concentration, need to have a certain level of spiritual inner peace or inner joy, then is considered. Then you need to travel all the way upstream to the source of the stream, which is the eventual goal. Right? Only then you can say it's safe. So before that, there's still always water currents pushing you, and you need to keep putting effort to travel upstream. All right, so this is the Dhamma jewel, superb jewel. Next slide. Okay, so this is related. So now we talk about Sangha jewel. So paragraph 6. Those 8 individuals that are praised by the virtuous ones constitute the 4 pairs of persons. They are worthy of offerings, they are disciples of the welfarer, which is the Buddha, and gifts given to them yield abundant fruit. Verily, in the Sangha is this superb jewel. By virtue of this truth, may there be well-being. Okay, so we talked about the 4 pairs of persons. So the 4 pairs, path and fruition or stream entry. So these are the 2 types of person. The path and the fruition of this one's returner, and that's another 2 kinds of persons. And then we talk about the path and the fruition of non-returner, that's another 2 kinds of persons. And the path and fruition of an arahant, the last 2 kinds of persons. So total 4 pairs of persons. Right? So the person on the path still considered not safe, especially path of stream enterer, still considered not safe only once they achieve the fruition, they experience that samadhi, then it's considered safe. Then you have this contentment. But the rest are considered quite safe. Let's say a person is like a path to this once returner, right? They can become heedless. They won't go below this stream enterer because they're already quite safe as a stream enterer. So they need to proceed on to the path and eventually fruition of this, what do you call this, once returner, and so on and so forth. So these are the various states of mind. So when a person does offerings to this Sangha, this you're actually offering to this state of mind. In psychology, they call this positive reinforcement. That means you are acknowledging these are the ideals you are sort of supporting, and you're supporting these ideals, right? And Sangha, by definition, since there are these four pairs of persons, they are not necessarily just people with robes. So sometimes lay persons can be mentally, a Sangha. So when a person take refuge in the Triple Gem, Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, they are not taking refuge in any particular persons. And they're actually taking refuge in these qualities and these states of mind, actually, these qualities, these virtues. But they are not taking refuge in any particular person. If I'm not wrong, there's actually the Buddha himself. There was this conversation, Brahmin went to look for the Buddha and started to praise, ask the Buddha, are you enlightened? Or do you consider yourself to be enlightened? Right, and I can't remember the details, but the Buddha mentioned that the 9 qualities of the Buddha, which is a standard stock formula, and he praised these 9 qualities. Right? And the Buddha didn't immediately want to acknowledge he himself equals to that 9 qualities. He doesn't want that person to associate the Buddha as a person. He wanted the listener to know that the Buddha is actually the 9 qualities. So that's why sometimes in India there's confusion. In the Buddha's time, some people cannot recognize the Buddha because the Buddha always market himself as the 9 qualities, and he's not saying, okay, this particular person is a Buddha only. So the Buddha, the term can be interchangeably as a verb and a noun. So often we always take the Buddha as a noun, as a person. And in fact, I think the Buddha, our historical Buddha, emphasized more on the contemplation on the qualities. The Buddha as a quality, as a verb. So we keep on referring to the Buddha as a verb more often. And the Buddha mind, Buddha nature, so all these are some examples, modern examples. Okay, and it's only the nowadays conventional Sangha, that means Sangha in robes, that receive offerings. So in the society context, social context, I think that's a bit more appropriate. Imagine if a lay person were to ask for offerings, right? Receive offerings, it will be a bit weird also. Sometimes got to do with the lifestyle, because a layperson, at least they work, they have a livelihood, so it's not so, how do you call it, a bit contradictory if they have means of livelihood and they still go for alms and seeking donations. And sometimes it's a common trend. There are some Buddhist academics or scholars that, let's say, they're not funded by any institute, and they do this Buddhist, they want to do Buddhist teaching or research full time, and they ask for donations from public, crowdsourcing. So the world is upside down now. So no. So if they really want to do it full time, then they should become a Sangha member. So at least there's some system of support as a social support system. Okay, and next slide. Okay, so reading through paragraph 7, those who with a steadfast mind apply themselves well in the Buddha Gautama's teaching, being desireless, attain the highest gain, and they plunge into the deathlessness, Nibbana, and enjoy the peace of emancipation obtained for free. Verily, in the Sangha is this superb jewel. By virtue of this truth, may there be well-being. So there we go again. So the Sangha, right, they plunge into this deathlessness, Nibbana. So it can be any of the stages. So stream enterer, they tasted Nibbana as well, but very diluted form, still at the end of the stream, not at the source of the stream, so they taste a bit on the journey, and they need to continue travel. So it could obtain for free, so there's no price. So there's no special fee, I pay you money, then you become a Satipatthana. No entrance fee. I give you a certain amount, then you become once returner. Not like that. So this one is self-cultivation, not really free, lots of effort, maybe lots of sweat and maybe sometimes even pain. I know if a person wants to sit for long, pain and sweat. So this is the quality. So like in the previous point, these are states of mind, so anybody can achieve them. It's not a particular person. So we need to remind ourselves, if a person habitually, sort of worship the triple gems in the form of a personality, then there will be dangers of falling into cults. Cults, or sometimes, if let's say the person, their faith were to be discovered on certain scandal, then they immediately lose faith altogether, and your faith all destroyed. So you don't invest the faith into any particular person. It's, we said Sangha in 4 directions, Sangha of all 4 quarters. So that means these 4 pairs of person, in this quality, the state of mind. All right, and I'm going to end this session, theoretical session, and open the floor for Q&A. Okay, any questions on the floor or on the Facebook? No one?
Bante, I just like to ask something on the deathlessness. I have asked the teacher before about this, and then I was told that this deathlessness means there's no rebirth, so death or no death. But according to Bante's interpretation, is because the state of mind
Yeah.
has already reached nibbana, so there's no birth.
Yeah.
So one is more physical, the other is more like.
Correct. Yeah.
So I'm trying to balance which one.
Yeah, a lot of people would want to use the more physical one. But then if a person is attained the deathless when they are still alive, then they need to go through death first. I mean, they physically need to pass away, right? So you can't claim to have no physical deathlessness.
So when they told me that, I was also trying to find the logic to it. So what I told myself is that it means future, no rebirth, no future death, but in the current lifetime there's still death. Yeah. Yes, I get what Bante is saying. Yes.
And also linked to a lot of post canonical understanding of this dependent origination as equals to 3 lifetime. Yeah, so that is probably one of the factor to support this more physical kind of deathlessness.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, all right. Okay, anyone else? Yeah, Rachel, yeah.
Yeah, I listened to the recording last week. You mentioned the Tathagata can be announced or can be
A verb.
Verbs, adjective, yeah, to address the Buddha. But it is it the value of it? Because from the 9 quality of Buddhas, like Buddho, like Bhagava, there's no Tathagata inside the 9 qualities of Buddha.
Yeah. Yeah, so all these are different labels, different terms to describe the quality. Yeah? So like darkness means seeing things as they really are. Or one does God. Tathata means see things as thus. See things as they really are. So it's a kind of quality, a kind of non-reactive state of mind. Like in the Vipassana practice, that's the eventual aim that practitioners supposed to eventually achieve, a kind of non-reactive mind. So that non-reactive mind is a desireless mind. Yeah, so Tathagata, if you want to translate back into a noun, so that is a person who achieved that state of mind. So if a person have achieved that state of mind, that is also an awakened mind. We call it a Buddha. Right? So all these are interlinked.
Okay, thank you.
All right, yeah, no problem. Okay, anyone else?
Bante, you mentioned that stream entry is obtained for free and that no money can buy it. I can recall that in one of the suttas, the Buddha actually says that even wheel turning monarchy is not even worth 1/16 of stream entry. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, okay, so they're trying to talk about a person who owns everything in the world or even in the universe. Yeah, if they own everything, they possess everything, they have all the wealth, all the possessions, all the assets. If they haven't achieved at least stream entry, they are still subject to many rounds of this birth and death. So that's what you meant. Yeah? Not even a fraction of the happiness of stream entry. whereas a stream enterer has a cap, has a limit on the rebirth. So they mention stream enterer maximum 7 lifetime. So hopefully that answers the question.
So meanings we still have chance, yeah, Bante? We still have chance in this era.
Yeah, still have chance, definitely. As long as teaching is still around and subject to individual effort, then definitely, yeah. Okay, anyone else? Okay, if not, then we end this theoretical Q&A, have a short break, 5-minute break, and see you all back for the guided meditation. Okay, now it's 9:10. And wait for a few more to return. So Eugene, sorry, this phone back. So we're waiting for her. Maybe anyone else here has any comments or questions? Yeah, Terence.
Last time during Buddha's time, when they say Buddha Saranam Gacchami and all that, they become monastic already. But nowadays, when you chant that, what's the meaning? What are we supposed for lay people to contemplate?
You mean for the triple jam?
Yes. The chanting of the Buddha Saranam Gacchami, the Tisarana.
Yeah. No, in the suttas, right? Whoever that chant that doesn't mean they become monastic. The Buddha has to say this verse, Ehi Bhikkhu, that means come, monk. Then that's it. That's the ceremony. no funny ritual. So very fast, just one sentence, and they are admitted straight away and become this monastic. So the recital of 3 refuges can be done by both lay or Sangha member. Hi Ken, welcome. Okay, so I guess we can start this Ikfong, are you back? Okay, I'm back then. And BL, are you here? Okay, just log in and we can start. Maybe we can mute the microphone first. Okay, find a comfortable sitting position. Make sure your back is upright. Okay, and body relaxed. And for those who are new to this class, the emphasis is not on sitting. So if you want to sit on chair, no problem. You don't have to torture yourself and sit full lotus on the floor. Meditation or mental cultivation is supposed to be done like all day round. Standing, sitting, walking, lying down. Also can practice right thought. Okay, so we start off with a bit of visualization practice. We're going to practice detachment of the body. So we're going to visualize all the hairs of the head, hairs of the body. May they be well and happy. From head to toe. And normally, right, when we think of any image or have any contact with any sense stimuli, An untrained person will fall to the extremes, either towards greed or towards hatred. So example for this hair would be, you have greed and I like my hair is so nice, and then develop greed or hatred. Right? I don't like my hairstyle, the hair is so messy, and you have hatred. So we practice the middle way and we reduce this hatred first with loving kindness. So every time we think of image or a new patch of hair, yeah, we wish it well and happy. So new contact, new image conjured, loving kindness, new part of the hair, loving kindness. So the whole idea is to keep thinking, part of right thought and right effort. Never leave the mind idle. Once you let the mind autopilot only, and all the hindrances will come. You'll be swept away by the stream, and the desire, its current is always there. And going against the stream is always an uphill task. I'm not asking you to force, but it's more on repetition. Okay, once you are at peace with the hairs, then we can introduce the truth of impermanence. And the mind is more ready to accept this truth. And this is to reduce greed. So all these hairs go through birth, aging, sickness, and passing away. And what we need to do is keep on thinking of the hair growing and falling, many, many cycles of birth and death. Or when we think of the impermanence of the hairs, we are not training the hairs. Or when we have loving kindness to the hairs, we are not training the hairs, we're actually training the 5 aggregates, or detaching these 5 aggregates. So the image on the hair, there's mental factors, there are feelings to the hairs, or the feelings changing as well. And with perception, we give labels to the hairs: young hair, old hair, new hair, long or short hairs. And so these are perceptions. And with mental formations, Every time we generate a new image, there's a new mental formation and consciousness. When we visualize something, we're using mind or consciousness. So we're actually learning to detach from these cognitive processes. And we can ask ourselves, are these hairs or the mental factors associated with the hairs truly self? Can you tell them not to go through birth and death? Or reflections such as like this non-self requires some logic and deduction, lots of steps. So always start off with impermanence, that is the benchmark. Okay, next part of the body we are going to visualize the nails, fingernails and toenails. May they be well and happy. And all this nails go through birth, aging, sickness, and passing away. So the so-called concentration based on this passion is dependent on this impermanence. One person mindful of impermanence all the time, whatever meditation object they are using, it will lead to this eventual calmness. So these 5 aggregates, like we mentioned earlier, the first one is the form, which is now the nails. So currently this practice requires some superimposition on the image. Nails growing and falling. So it's easier to start off with this obvious image, the birth and death of the nails, growing and falling of the nails, rather than something more invisible, like your emotions. Because once we start being a bit sloppy and slack with the emotion, we stop contemplating impermanence with the emotions, and the next thing is nice emotion, calm, you cling, and become either daydreaming or falling asleep. So no work done. And we can ask ourselves, are these nails or the mental factors associated with the nails, are they truly self? And we tell them not to go through birth and death. And the next part of the body, we are going to visualize the teeth. May all the teeth be well and happy. On the upper rows of teeth and lower rows of teeth, may they be well and happy. And all these teeth go through birth, aging, sickness, and passing away. So you think of the birth and death of the teeth, or the bone cells of the teeth, if you want many cycles, many times, many cycles. And then we can ask ourselves, are these teeth or the mental factors associated with the teeth, are they truly self? Can we tell them not to go through birth and death? And next we think of the skin. We wish all the skin well and happy from head to toe. And the skin quite a large area, so every time you think of a new patch of skin, and we wish it well and happy, new patch of skin well and happy. And once the mind is quite accepting of the skin, then we can contemplate on impermanence. All this skin go through birth, aging, sickness, and passing away. And we think of the skin growing and falling many, many times. And then we can ask ourselves, are the skin or the mental factors associated with the skin, Are they truly self? Can you tell them not to go through this birth and death? Okay, so this ends the first phase of meditation, the impurities of the body, and moving on to the four sublimed states. And this time around, there's no need to visualize using feeling of sensations. So now we are wishing all beings in front well and happy. And basically that means whatever sensation you feel in front, you wish it well and happy. No need to visualize, no need to superimpose anything. And it's a real-time evidence, a real-time experience. And we come back to ourselves, and we wish all beings behind well and happy. And we come back to ourselves. And next we wish all beings on the left well and happy. And we come back to ourselves. And we wish all beings on the right well and happy. And we come back to ourselves. Now we wish all beings above well and happy. And we come back to ourselves. And we wish all beings below well and happy. And we come back to ourselves. So this time round, we are going to fill the entire body with loving kindness, and whatever sensation you feel in the body, we wish it well and happy. So these sensations can be classified into the four elements. So the earth, fire, wind, water elements. Earth represents any hard and soft sensations. Fire represents any hot and cold sensations. Wind represents any fast and slow movements. And water, any moist or dry sensations. So basically there's no need to deliberately generate the sensation, no need to control, no need to cling, and no need to reject. Let it arise naturally by itself anytime a new sensation appears, just wish it well and happy. We treat all sensations as passerby. Any new sensation arises, well and happy. New sensation arises, well and happy. Okay, so this is a restricted form of loving kindness, still within the confines of the body. So all it is to remember this state of mind, remember this emotion of a restricted mind. Okay, and now we're going to cultivate a more boundless kind of loving kindness, and we are wishing all beings in all directions, may they be well and happy. So there's no need to push the mind far and wide, let it extend naturally by itself, a wider area. And however far the mind wishes to extend, then that will be your universe. And within that field of attention, the same thing, whatever sensation arises, wish it well and happy. Yeah? So whatever sentient beings that is encompassed by that mind will be included. So it doesn't matter near or far, all that is keep generating this loving kindness. loving kindness you generate, then the calmer the mind should get. So this is the paradox of skillful thinking. So this is developing concentration with loving kindness, not the kind of concentration we talked about in the Ratana Sutta. So in order to have the moral wisdom kind of concentration, and we need to reflect on impermanence. Yeah? So we need to reflect how to cultivate a more unconditional kind of loving kindness, more detached, and that will require observing impermanence. So all sensations, observe how they arise and pass away. Now we have the kind of goodwill, loving kindness to all sentient beings that keep changing all the time. So don't need to imagine too far, don't need to over dramatize, just observe here and now sensations arising and passing all the time. So the emphasis is always on impermanence. Whatever nice emotion or peaceful emotion or this byproduct, once you just stop and cling on to the emotion, then that's it, all gone. And it's craving. We keep the Dharma wheel rolling, spinning all the time, just like riding a bicycle. You need to keep pedaling, keep the bicycle balance. Once you stop the wheel from turning, and the bicycle will fall. Keep applying right thought. Which is thoughts of impermanence, and that is also right mindfulness. I'm mindful of impermanence all the time. I'm mindful of the four elements, mindful of the state of mind, whether it be the large area, small area, different states of mind. Mindful of the Dhamma, the Four Noble Truths, and there's detachment. How is it like? What's the emotion like when it's, especially when we reflect on impermanence that causes detachment? And when there's desire or clinging, will the peace be there or disappear? Does it cause stress? Does it cause suffering? And then this is developing both concentration and insight with loving kindness meditation. And since we're still on this topic, then we can move on to the second sublime state, which is compassion. So for compassion, we wish all beings may they be free from suffering. So no need to over-imagine or any dramas. We just observe here and now sensations. Anytime a sensation arises, may you be free from suffering. New sensation arise, may you be free from suffering. And the compassion, the more you generate, the mind calms down. And if you do it correctly, it should feel quite pleasant, not the sorrowful or sad kind of compassion. That is the mundane kind of compassion. The more middle way compassion is free from passionate grief. And this concentration developed by this compassion is more of jhanic kind of concentration, yeah. No impermanence yet. And next we are going to add some insight or wisdom and reflect how to overcome this suffering. That is to practice detachment, and every sensation we need to observe impermanence. All beings, all formations arise and pass away all the time, and we keep observing impermanence. Okay, and before we conclude the session, just a gentle reminder from the Karaniya Metta Sutta, the teachings of loving kindness, is that as long as we maintain this boundless loving kindness or boundless sublime states, be it standing, sitting, walking, or lying down, and this is the highest conduct. And so meditation is not just sitting. And with that in mind, we can open our eyes. Okay, and yeah, anyone has any issues? Yeah, just now I did a bit of research, and earlier on I was giving an example during the Dhamma sharing, about this particular Brahmin called Vassakara, Vassakara. So they were having a conversation and being impressed by the Buddha's answer. And this Vassakara said, "Oh, the Buddha is so great, he can enter all the levels of concentration, enter this state of this high order attainments." Yeah? And Buddha was very humble. He didn't say that straight up front, but since this Brahmin has made this assertion, then Buddha sort of conformed and replied accordingly. Right? So that again kind of shows that Buddha is not so interested in we call it personality kind of worship. Yeah? He's more interested in worshipping the qualities. All right. If there's no issues, then we can do a closing chant. Okay, dedicating of merits. Akasata Bhumata Devanaga Mahitika Punyang Tanganumuditva Chirang Rakantu Lokasasana Itavata Cha Amhehi Sampada Punya Sampada Sabe Deva Sabe Puta Sabe Sata Anumodantu Sabha Sampati Siriya. Transference of merits to departed. Idam vinyatina hotu sukita hotu nyatayo. Idam vinyatina hotu sukita hotu nyatayo. Idam vinyatina hotu sukita hotu nyatayo. An aspiration. Imina punya kamena mame bala samagamo. Sadam samagamo hotu yavani bana patiya. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, so we ended the session. Any announcements from Terence? No, then good night and see you all next week. Okay.
Thank you, Bante. Sadhu, sadhu.
No problem. Good night.
Okay, Pandami. Good night.